EI over everything, emotional intelligence over everything. I am Dawn Morris, and I am excited to have this program. The World Class Training Institute is an organization that maximizes human capital through the delivery of professional and leadership development training workshops. I've always loved training. I've been blessed with the opportunity to do it for so many years. You want to be a pinnacle leader. Becoming more emotionally intelligent is going to set you on the road to that. I have to meet people where they are and not try to say just because I'm doing it, they automatically can do it. The area that emotional intelligence helps with is called your blind spot. It helps you to strengthen your self-awareness.
I just found this session really helpful. It was my favorite session of the conference.
My name is Derek Potter, and I am the Director of Business Operations for Group Effort of Tennessee. I'm here to talk about the world-class training, leadership training provided by Don to my staff. The training has been extremely helpful for our group of folks, mainly because a lot of principles used in traditional business are oftentimes lacking when it comes to social service because the focus is about the people. We don't think about the people that lead those people, lead departments and positions in which manage the day-to-day operations. And so for us to have an opportunity to train with Don in this training and get the particular skill sets needed to become better leaders, motivators, supervisors, and even teammates was inspirational for us, and we enjoyed the training.
Good morning and welcome to LeaderSHIFT inside the Leaders Lounge. I'm doing something different today, so I'm not sure if everybody is able to see this, but I'm recording it. And so I am going to play it back for everybody. So just hang with me in the event you're not able to see it, because I'm using Restream, just so you guys know, through Zoom. And I thought I was going to be able to see every participant, but I'm not. So sorry for that. But I am going to still deliver the program and deliver the information. And if I need to show it again or do the same show again so that I can see everybody, I will do that. I'm still working on the building, trying to make everything the way it's supposed to be. So welcome to LeaderSHIFT again inside the Leaders Lounge. I am Dawn Morris. I am the Chief Training Officer for the World Class Training Institute. And today we are talking about collaboration and developing relationships, and it's titled Who You Wit? Because for leaders who are either new to an organization or are promoted from within, you have a team of people with whom you have to work, and you need to know who those people are. LeaderSHIFT is a program that we have designed so that new leaders and leaders who are newly promoted have an opportunity to learn about their teams, to build a vision with their teams, to talk about systems thinking with their team, and finally, to address conflict. So if at the end of this is something that interests you, I'm just going to show you right quickly. This is the website where you would go. It's worldclasstraining.net/leadershift. And you will go here and click on this button to go into my calendar, and here you can schedule a meeting with me. So if at any time within this program, you're like, you know what, this is right for me and my team, and hopefully you will say that, just go to worldclasstraining.net/leadership, and you can avail yourselves of this program. Again, the four pieces are embracing change and charting a new vision, systems thinking, courage and conflict, and today's session, which is Who You Wit, which is talking about building team collaboration through a better understanding of your team. Now, I want you guys to go through just a little check for yourselves. Let me know, or if you can, in the chat, or just think for yourselves if you've ever taken a DISC assessment or personality assessment. And then secondly, think about if you've done it as a part of your team. And then the second thing I want you to think about is if you've ever done an emotional intelligence assessment. And then secondly, if you've done that with your team. The reason that I want you to go through thinking through both of those pieces for both EQ as well as DISC is that sometimes I will hear leaders say, well, you know, I've done DISC before. And that may be true. The thing is, they actually suggest that you take DISC when you change roles, because even though it's a personality assessment, different parts of your personality tend to come forward when you are in different roles. And then the second thing is, doing it with your team allows them to not only get to know you better and what motivates and inspires you, but it also helps you, and I always say this is the real power of DISC, in knowing who they are. So, and then you'll be able to develop communication strategies that help move the dial forward more quickly on your team. With emotional intelligence, it works the same way. You want to know what your emotional intelligence score is, and then you also want to know the emotional intelligence score of your team members, because that can speak to different things that they do and the behaviors that they demonstrate when they are working with you. And then you can also help them through that as well as they can help themselves. They always say you have to want to get help in order to help yourself. So those are the things that I want you, the reasons I wanted you guys to think through those pieces. Now, I am going to, in the time that we have together, and I try to spend about 30 minutes in the Leaders Lounge every week, just so you know, we do this every Tuesday, and it's your moment as leaders to just grow and develop as you are being your best selves personally and professionally. So we're going to spend about 30 minutes in the Leaders Lounge with Who You Wit today. So the first one I want to talk about is emotional intelligence. Now, before I do that, I want to share with you guys a few things. And for those people who follow me on LinkedIn, you might have seen me working with these tools that are children's tools, of course, but they're replicas of what you would see in a doctor's office. So the first one is a stethoscope. And when you use a stethoscope, I want you to think about the number that tells a doctor that your heart is healthy. It's around 60 beats per minute, I believe, resting. And then it goes up to about 80 if you are active, 80 beats per minute. But there's a number that the doctor is searching for. So that's your stethoscope. The next one I want you to look at or think about is a thermometer. And this is our toy thermometer. But when you are measuring your temperature, and during COVID, they did it very often, and even in my church, they're still doing it. They're looking for a number. And if that number isn't where it's supposed to be, which is 98.6, if it's higher than that, it can indicate that there's an illness. So again, there's a number that we're looking for, right? The third thing, the sphygmomanometer, or the blood pressure cuff, as it's called, and I think I called it a cuff last week, but the blood pressure cuff is also an indicator to a doctor of health. If it is too high, and I believe 120 over 80, 110 over 70 are the numbers that we're looking for in when you're taking your blood pressure. If it's too high, it could indicate high blood pressure, which could lead to stroke, or it could lead to some other health ailment. So we have to be very careful about our physical numbers. And in order to get our numbers to where, or ensure our numbers are where they're supposed to be, there are certain things that we're supposed to do in our lives. We are supposed to eat well, and then we are also supposed to do this. I'm going to share with you a couple of files here to show you all what you're supposed to do. Just one moment.
Gotta get on your job, tell them haters get on your job, motivation. Get on your job, tell them haters get on your job, motivation. Haters better get on your job, tell them haters get on your job, it's motivation. Sucker, get on your job. If you hating, get on your job. You can look.
We work out. Working out is the way that we help keep ourselves healthy. In addition to eating well, drinking water, there are activities that we integrate into our lives to ensure that our numbers are where they're supposed to be, correct? Well, what about this? What are we doing to ensure that our brains, and specifically our amygdala is operating in the way that it's supposed to be when it is triggered? The amygdala represents two almond-shaped pieces of the brain, and when the brain is triggered, we have an opportunity between the triggering and the response to ignite certain behaviors. And the way that we handle those behaviors is an indicator of our emotional intelligence. And you get what's called an emotional quotient score that tells you and tells others with whom you work what your emotional intelligence is. So I'm going to quickly share with you guys the 4 quadrants for emotional intelligence. The 4 quadrants for emotional intelligence. Hopefully everyone can see this. And I'm just going to go ahead and share these with you all. So the first one, and it's separated into 2 areas. You have the one half, which is about self, and the other half is about how you handle others. So in the first area, you have self-awareness. And when self-awareness is speaking to your moods, your thoughts, and your feelings, are you in touch with yourself? Are you able to recognize when your energy window is maxed out and you need to go and rest? Are you in touch with when your amygdala is rising and you need to separate or put space in between your amygdala rising and your response to whatever is going on? So self-awareness is critical. Next area, and I'm just going to put those in here. So you said moods and feelings, so you guys know moods and feelings. And then your thoughts, right? So here we go. And now our next area is self-regulation. So when we're talking about self-regulation, now we're talking about what are we doing when our amygdala is hijacked. So that is, and I won't say hijacked, but our amygdala is triggered, right? So it speaks to how flexible and adaptable we are. And it also speaks to how well we are able to activate the power of the pause or emotion control. And this not only speaks to moments of distress, but also moments of eustress, because your amygdala can also be triggered in an exciting way. And if you've ever seen somebody like just really going to a loud outburst because they're happy and you're like, wow, it's not that exciting, right? Well, that person, for them, their amygdala told them to, and I should say in their regulation of their amygdala, they got excited and they displayed that in an exuberant way. So that is whether or not you're able to, that speaks to your ability to self-regulate. Now, of course, if you're out in a football field or a game or something like that, then yeah, that's the place. But if you're in more of a constrained environment, you may not want to display that behavior even if you're feeling it. So that's self-regulation. Now we're going to go to the bottom half, and I'm going to change the color here, and let's talk about others. And so here you have social awareness. And when you're talking about social awareness, we're talking about you being able to sense others and sense what's going on in the room, or temperature check, right? I had someone, I'm going to also say reading the room. I had someone post on LinkedIn recently about a leader who he said, you know, this person doesn't, he just comes in and starts talking and doesn't necessarily think about what's going on with other people. And I said, well, that's because he may lack social awareness skills, and it is a skill. So social awareness is how well you're able to read the room, temperature check, and even thinking about if you're talking about a serious matter, are you someone who's able to say, you know what, now may not be the time because I can sense something in your emotion, right? Social awareness is very important. And then the last one is social regulation. And we're going to make that orange as well. So social regulation is now, how do you handle social environments? You sense it. And again, between your sensing it in the social environment and your response dictates your level of social regulation. And so we're talking about now how well you're able to handle conflict, how well you're able to influence an environment. And I always, when I teach intentional leadership, we start with the definition of leadership. And leadership is influence. It's not about title. That's why this leadership is about going from positional power to pinnacle power, because positional power is by way of title, but that's the lowest level of leadership. In order for you to move up to the pinnacle level or the respect level, you have to be able to influence the room through your behavior, your attitude, your willingness to serve, willingness and ability to serve others. So these are the 4 components of emotional intelligence. When we do LeaderSHIFT, you are able to get an emotional quotient score, which comprises each of these elements individually and in aggregate. And then you also get a motivation score, because motivation speaks to your intrinsic desire to, I'm going to just say, do life, right? So that's what we're dealing with when we're talking about your motivation score. That one is separate from your overall emotional quotient. But you get all of these, and then we also do a training on how to work through areas of opportunity, and then how to highlight your areas of strength as you're improving your emotional intelligence. So it's a very great course. Now, when we do LeaderSHIFT, you have the opportunity of either doing emotional intelligence or DISC. DISC is one of the most widely known personality assessments out on the market. And I've seen several of them, Myers-Briggs, the new one with the Enneagram, can't even think. StrengthsFinders is not necessarily a personality assessment, it's more of a strengths indicator, hence the term StrengthsFinder. But DISC is, the colors, there's one called colors. I've seen several. DISC is still, in my opinion, one of the best on the market for helping you to not only understand who you are, but to be able to feed into the person you're speaking and be able to communicate in a style that moves the dial forward. So it's not only important, I always say when I teach this, for you to know who you are, it is equally, or in some cases even more important, to know to whom you're speaking and be able to shape your communication in a way that speaks their language. So I'm going to now share with you guys the 4 areas of DISC very quickly, just so that you all can see them, and then talk through them briefly. So when we are, let me just, I had done okay, we'll go with this one. That's fine. Okay, so when we're talking about DISC, DISC has four areas, and when you do a DISC assessment, it will give you your primary style and your secondary style. And your primary style is the style that you tend to lean on most easily when you are dealing with others. So it's the one that's going to come forth most readily. It doesn't mean that you can't tap into the other styles, which is why we're talking about how you communicate to others, but it is the one that most easily it's your go-to. Okay, so when we're talking about this, the D is the first one, and that is dominance. Next one. Influencer. Change that to yellow. Then we'll have, oh, here it is, steadiness. And we will make that blue, of course. And then we will have conscientiousness. And that is, of course, green. Okay, perfect. So those are the four areas of DISC. Now, just quickly, and again, should you choose to come to training, which I hope that you send your teams and come with them, then we will go into this in a lot more detail, but I'll just give you the high level part today. So the D, dominance, you are results oriented. You are someone, if I was communicating with you, I need to start with what are we getting out of this, right? So that we can move this forward. The influencer person is the person who is going to be your cheerleader for the most part. They're the one who has vision. They're excited about ideas typically, and they're ready to move forward. And again, this is high level. There are other pieces to each of these styles, but this gives you some sense of what we're talking about. The steadiness person, harmony is what comes to mind most when we talk about steadiness. And this person is process oriented. They don't like change just for change's sake. Change has to be purposeful, and you typically want to give them some time to work through that. And then conscientiousness, the last one is the person who is the analyzer. They want a lot of detail, and then they want to also be able to process. When we're talking about DISC, it's broken down into 4 grids, which we would go into in detail. Now, why is DISC so powerful? It is powerful because not only does it help you, again, to know who you are, but you are able to then know on your team with whom you're working and be able to communicate in that manner. So I'll give you a quick example. If you have somebody who's a dominance person and they're talking to somebody who's steadiness, and these are opposite ends, which are as well our conscientiousness and influencer. A dominance person would not want to go to a steadiness person and just rattle off a whole bunch of to-dos without giving them time to think through what they have to do. And if there's a change to it, they want to share with them why they're making the change, right? Conversely, a steadiness person would not want to go talking to a dominance person and then talk very slowly, go around Robin's barnyard. And when I say Robin's barnyard, I'm speaking metaphorically, but you may say, for instance, I'm steadiness, this is steadiness now to a person who's a dominant person, steadiness to dominant, right? So this conversation may go like this in a manner that they may not like, a dominant person may not like. Well, You know, I was thinking, and we've had a lot of things happen recently, and I haven't really been happy with them. So I was thinking that we might want to look at doing some things a little differently, right? A dominant person may want to pull their hair out if you come to them speaking to them like that. So a steadiness person would have to adjust their thinking and their communication style to get the dominant person's attention. So a steadiness person would instead say something to the effect of, the way we're doing things now is not achieving the desired result. We have had a high turnover. We have had low sales, and we are in fear of not meeting our numbers for the quarter. That gets a dominant person's attention, and then you can fill in the blanks. So again, understanding though, and having that training with the team together where everybody is able to get their own DISC assessments and then have communication practice helps everybody to be able to understand each other better and communicate better. So those were the two that I wanted to share with you for Who You Wit, because you want to know who your team members are beyond the task. I always say, and the mission of the World Class Training Institute is to help maximize human capital, because it doesn't matter the tasks as much as it matters the people who are doing those tasks. And the better you're able to know who you with, and the better you're able to know your team members, the more likely you are to be able to grow and develop those team members together. Because moving up the level of, and I'm just going to do this kind of on a, moving up the levels of John Maxwell's 5 levels of leadership. Again, you have the bottom level, which is position. The next level up from that is permission. So that's about relationship. The next level up from that is people development. I'm sorry. The next level up from that is actually productivity. And then you have people development. And then from there, inherently, you reach the pinnacle. So by signing up for LeaderSHIFT, you're already involving people development, which is going to help enhance your permission as well as productivity on the team. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. We're right at the top of the hour. Remember, LeaderSHIFT is the program that you want to sign up for. You just go to worldclasstraining.net, and then you will click here to go into LeaderSHIFT. Scroll down and you can click here to schedule a meeting with me and enroll your teams, because this is a powerful way to end the year and to start next year with the 4 components of LeaderSHIFT: visioning, Who You Wit, which is collaboration through team development, systems thinking, and then courage through conflict. It has been my pleasure to serve you guys today. I look forward to seeing you all next time right here inside the Leaders Lounge. Until next time, remember, when you are better, we are absolutely better. Take care. Bye.